Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today I have with me the new writer in the town, Ashish Ranjan, and I am Komal Taya. And today we're gonna talk about the most sensational topic which you have been bombarding me with. Like, hey Komal, can you please tell us about the book? Because I posted a story on the Instagram of Ashish. I took over his Instagram handle for 24 hours and you guys asked me a lot of questions about the book, and that's what we're going to discuss today. And I cannot keep my calm, and I'm so excited and looking forward to it. How do you feel, Ashish Ranjan? Finally, after 5 years, how do you feel?
I feel awesome. The thing is that, as you see, Komal has started this whole interview podcast, whatever you want to call it, because she's going to take charge. She's going to ask the questions that you have been asking. So in a way that she is representing you, and she's going to take charge of today's thing that we are doing over here. And I don't know the questions because I did not see. She made sure that I did not see any of the questions. That's the way that we do it. It should be unscripted. And I'm very excited to, first of all, see what you are thinking about the book. When I say I've written a book, what do you think? Like, what questions come to your mind? And that's what I want to answer. And yes, you are right. 5 years. It took me almost as much time as it took for me to become an engineer. Like, I became an engineer in 5 years. That's how most of us do it in India. Like 4 years in college and 1 year in coaching institute. At least that's the way that we used to do in those times, 2012 to 2016, 17. And it took me the exact amount of time to become a writer. It's my first book, but it was a learning process. I mean, you have been one of the very few who read my first words, right? You read my first paragraph. I think I had not even started writing chapter 2. It was back in 2019. So you know how much I have developed as a writer. I mean, people used to love my work back then as well. I started writing blogs and people loved it because my way of writing was always like, it's not about the hero. It's not about winning. It's about you getting an experience. And that's what people loved about my writing. But I just took a hard pause on my blogging and I said that I'm not just going to release it randomly. I'm going to compose it properly. And by the way, the first time I started writing was actually I was writing my interview experience in Quora. And that's what helped me to crack all of those interviews. That's what helped me to crack Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay. That's what helped me to crack Indian Space Research Organization interview, because there were so many people so amazing to share their experiences, and I was able to read them. So I thought that I'm going to share my experience as well, so I will contribute to the community. And that's what I did earlier as well with my BARC interview. And this time I had like a following. Right. When I got into BARC, nobody knew who I was. I just shared my interview experience and some people got helped. But next time I already had like 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So this one really exploded. It went like 14,000, 15,000. And this was explosion for me at that time. It was not when I got 1 million views on my short or something. So it went crazy. A lot of people loved it. But when I was writing, I still remember I was at that time in Bhabha Atomic Research Center. I just joined as scientific officer in Department of Atomic Energy. At that time, I was posted in Mumbai, and I was in this local bus in Mumbai, and I had just given my ISRO interview, and I knew that I did it. I knew it very well. It was 17th of August, 2017. I can't forget even a single second of that day. And I was just writing, and I said that, hey, how about I write from the first question that they asked? I said, how about I give them a little bit of feeling what I just felt, like what it was to wake up that morning and go for that interview. And then I thought that it's a long journey, man. I was in Bhabha Atomic Research Center. I was in training school. It was a difficult course in itself. It's degree in nuclear science and engineering, man. We are not kidding. It's a graduate level course in nuclear science and engineering. You're not talking about any random course. And it's very stringent, highly competitive. Like, think about how difficult it is to crack the interview of Bhabha Atomic Research Center. Now think about 100 people who have all cracked that interview, right? They're like the smartest brain of this country. And you think about that competitive environment that you lived in for 1 year. And then you add that you want to become a scientist in ISRO as well. Like that is a crazy, crazy ambition. And I lived that life and I wanted to share that experience. So I thought that maybe I should start writing from the point when I went to the written test of ISRO. And then I thought that, how about a little bit before? How about the second written test where I actually failed? And then I thought that, how about from the BARC interview itself? I said, man, I got a book in my hand. I need to start writing this. And soon after that, you read like the first couple of chapters.
By the way, you answered like 10 questions in
Really?
just one go.
Well,
I
that's the
wanted
way.
it to be short, but you just explained everything. But like, nevertheless, you explained like the motivation to write this
Right.
book. Basically, that was
Yeah.
one of my questions. But a lot of viewers and a lot of people are kind of confused about the genre of your book.
Yeah.
Like, what is this book related to? Is just like some kind of, autobiography, or it's related to like science, or it's related to, say, fiction? Like, what is it?
Well, this is definitely not an autobiography. I did not want it to do that, right? I did not want it to be, like, oh, my life is so awesome. How about you learn about it step by step? And the best example in that domain would be David Goggins, who has written a couple of books, never finished, would be a good example. And Can't Hurt Me, the second book. What was the first one? Yeah, Never Finished was the most recent one, and Can't Hurt Me was the first one. So that is a great example of a self-help book. And
Maybe a book which like a lot of our Indian viewers can relate to.
yeah, I'm coming to that. Sorry, I said self-help book. That is a great example for an autobiography. And even when I was pitching to a lot of publishers, that's what I said, that it is one of the, even though my book is not an autobiography, you can think about it like that, because David Goggins' books are very inspirational, and this book is also going to be inspiration. That is one aspect of this book. And a good second reference, which is I think a much closer one, and a lot of you guys would be able to relate, is 5 Point Someone. It was also the first book that I ever read. I was in 10th standard at that time, very young. I was in high school. And it connects with that because it is again a fictional book inspired by real story. It is not in an engineering college, but it is in a scientific engineering environment, in a bigger scientific environment. Like you're talking about nuclear program of the world's largest democracy. And you're talking about space program of India, which is like top 5 space program of this world.
So are you saying we have new Three Idiots in making?
Well, we are going to, in future, work towards a movie.
Okay.
And we are going to see how far we can take it. Well, you have seen me obsessing about being a writer for the past 5 years. A lot of people have been thinking that, oh, you cracked BARC, you got selected in IIT, and you got into ISRO, and that's it. You spend rest of your time making YouTube videos. But a guy who got into Bhabha Atomic Research Center and said that this is not enough, got into ISRO and said that this is not enough, is not going to just settle down and make videos for the rest of his life, right? So that's what I've been doing for the past 5 years. I've been working to become a writer. And for the past couple of months, you've been saying that I've been obsessing about like making it further.
Yeah, you gave a very clear explanation about like why you wanted to write this book.
Yeah.
But 5 years, it's a long period of time.
Right.
What kept you going for 5 years? I mean, what is in this book that kept you going, or what was the like inspiration that you just kept on going?
Well, people might not believe it, but I wake up every morning, and that's what I've been doing for the past 5 years. And huge chunk, like 5 to 8 hours of my time, always goes in writing this book. That's what it has been all about. And in the past couple of weeks, even more, because now it's the publishing stage. And the biggest inspiration is that this book is an inspiration for me as well. Like when I write this book, I feel that I did great. I did great in the 2017, 2018 time. I better do better now. Like I should do something to even outperform myself what I did over there, because I have the experiences now. And more importantly, I even have a lot of resources now. So I should do better. I should do something that even overshadows whatever I did. Like most of these people know me because I'm a former ISRO scientist, because I'm a former scientific officer at Department of Atomic Energy, because I got selected in IIT Bombay. But I want them to now know me for something bigger than that. For now, I want them to know me as a writer. And that book deserves that. I feel that even if I was not the writer, that is one of the best fiction ever written. That is one of the best novel ever written. It will give you an experience. So, like you asked, like what is the genre of the book? It is a fictional book set up in the nuclear program of the country of a boy who wants to get into Indian Space Research Organization, and a lot of things happen, right? Most of these people who are checking me out on social media just get shocked by the fact that I just got selected in like I failed in physics in class 11. I have 65 percentage in PCM in 12th board, and I've got like 53 marks in mathematics. I've got 61 marks in physics, and then this guy goes and becomes scientist in two of the biggest research programs of the country, right? And most people are just dazzled, like, oh my god, this guy did something great. And I really respect the fact that people still respect that, like academic victories. And there's so much going on in my life right now when it comes to being an engineer. Some people think that I'm not even an engineer anymore, and I've not even talked about that. But when you read these books, when you read these lines in this book, you'll understand like why I was really able to do all those things. Like that character, we are going to disclose the character very soon, is a guy with like tremendous passion. That guy just looks at something and just runs for it. He does not stop no matter what happens.
Okay, coming to the same
Yeah.
thing, like we've been talking around the main part or main
Yeah.
soul of the book is just like your main character.
Mm-hmm.
Who is your main character and what is going to be like?
So you want me to reveal the name of the character?
Yes.
That's about time. Yeah.
Yeah.
The name of the character is Ashwin Taksh,
Yeah.
and it goes along the same storyline.
Yeah.
He's a graduate from 2016 mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
Goes for 1 year in coaching institutes in Delhi, prepares for competitive examination, fails in GATE 2017, fails in ISRO 2017, but by hook or crook makes it into the nuclear program, which we are going to call, again a name drop, Science Center of Atomic Research, which is SCAR for short.
Okay, so is your character is very much inspired from you personally, from your time being in the organization
course,
called
yeah.
BARC?
Yeah,
Right.
this is not like fictional, like someone thinks of a murder mystery and just writes it on a paper.
So it's completely inspired from
I've
your
experienced
own.
those things, and
Okay.
that's what I'm trying to write it over here.
Okay, that
Yeah.
pretty much answers my question.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you define your book? Like, why is your book different from the other books? Why would a buyer would be interested in buying your book rather than the other books, which are the contemporaries of yours?
It relates to almost everybody. Like a lot of people might think that, okay, it is about an engineer.
Okay.
All right, it is about a scientist, but it is about pursuit of a dream career. Like musicians will be able to relate to it. Artists, engineers, scientists, bankers, everybody wants to live a life where they do something which they love it, right? And they don't feel like they're working. They're pursuing their passion, and they're getting paid for that. They love their life. That is something that we all want to pursue, right? There's not a person who says that, oh, I want to be a slave, and I want to hate 8 hours of my day, and then I just want to get a paycheck at the end of the month, and then I'm waiting for the next paycheck, right? Everybody has a dream. Everybody has a passion. Everybody wants to love what they do for a living, right? And this is the career trajectory of Ashwin Taksh. Like, he has set his mind that I want to do space science and engineering, right?
Yeah.
And you see that I've never been this emotional before in any kind of talk. But the fact that I have lived that life, and then I've written that life for 5 years in a way that audience can be able to saw. So I'm trying my best to hold my bold voice where it's been difficult, but I'm happy that I'm in front of a familiar face, so I'll be more comfortable than usual. So what was I saying? So yeah, pursuit of a dream career, right? People don't understand what it takes. People don't understand how much you have to sacrifice. People don't understand how much pain you have to face along the way. People don't understand how it changes you, right?
Yeah, so it won't be wrong to say that like it doesn't have a particular audience.
Right.
It's like for everyone, whether you're a musician, whether you're a writer, whether you're a street vendor, whether you are maybe Prime Minister of India. It's this book is for everyone. Everyone can relate to it because everyone has a dream. And
Right.
this book is about a dream.
Yeah, even if you don't have a dream, you read this book, you'll think that, oh, what am I doing with my life?
Yes.
Right? I should have something that I do with my life, right? Like, for example, I still remember like 3 days ago when you read the final draft, like the one that we are going to publish. By the way, Komal is kind of the only one who has read the entire book, right? We are
Other friends are of no use. We have been asking them to read it, but nobody has that much time to read it.
Well-
even it's your own family. Okay, complaints apart. Keep going.
Right. Well, everybody has their own priorities, and that's what I love about Komal is that she has always taken this book like I have taken this book, right? And regardless, like both me and Komal love reading this book, even though we are part of this book. But the last time you read it, like 2 days ago, when you read it completely, the final draft, the one that we are going to publish, I still remember you saying that, oh, what am I doing with my life? Right. And when you look at Komal, like she's doing a PhD, she has done great with her life. She has done great in so many different domains. And when a book makes someone like her question, like, am I doing everything that I can with my life? And that's what I asked every day writing this book. And you have seen me change as I write this book, right? Like, that's the character I want to be.
Yeah, I imagine you going back to the pages of this book
Right.
and taking inspiration when there has been like downs in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't talk about it, but the time since I left ISRO has been horrific for me, right? I never dealt with anxiety. I never dealt with depression. And you're going to read this book and you'll see that what Ashwin Taksh has been through. And you'll question, oh my God, this guy should have faced some dark times. Trust me, I never faced depression or anxiety until I left ISRO. But the
And
things that happened after that, man, it was crazy. I never talked about it because like I don't want to cry a sob story over here. But this book was an inspiration continuously, and this book like pulled me out of it. Like I'm very proud to say that I was able to defeat anxiety. I was able to defeat depression a couple of months ago, right? I told you like I did it. I'm out of it, and that was writing. Like I was writing it. I was like contemplating what is going on and why it is happening, and I just wrote like a 2-pager. I sent it to you, and like I'm done with it. I'm out of it.
Little disclaimer, like the depression and anxiety were not because he left ISRO. It's
No,
because
oh
of
yeah. Some might be thinking that, yeah. A lot of people ask me, do you ever regret leaving ISRO? Hell no, not for a second. I'm actually very proud of my decision and the point that I made that decision. All right.
Okay. And Ashish, you have liberty to reveal your title of the book and cover of the book whenever you want to, like reveal it throughout the time period of our podcast.
All right.
And I'll keep on going. Just interrupt me whenever you want to do that.
Okay. Shall we do it right away?
It depends completely on you.
All right. So a lot of you guys might be waiting for the title of the book. And the book is named The Boy Who Did Not Sign. And it feels crazy, right? The first time you say it. Nobody has ever found out the title of the book. Like I did, like guess the title. You will never be able to guess the title until.
But there were many, like which were very creative, right?
Yeah, definitely. There were a lot of creative suggestions and might even turn out to be a book in future.
Yeah.
But the title of the book is actually named by Komal Taya herself, and I have to give her credit. It was actually one chapter. The Boy Who Did Not Sign was actually one chapter. I think it was 11th chapter, right after the rebellion part. And that's another thing, like it's not just a guy who is going and cracking examinations, right? It's a guy who finds himself in tough relationship dynamics. He is like attracted to a girl, and because of that he sees the politics and the groupism of what goes on with which a lot of you guys might have faced. And that is why I'm saying that a lot of you guys will be able to relate to this book. And then he faces something that almost nobody has faced before. And that is he, being a 23-year-old guy, stands up against a 60-year-old system. And that is monumental and crazy to think about it. And that's where he actually gets the name The Boy Who Did Not Sign. It's not very difficult to find out because it's actually in the prologue. So the first 4 to 5 pages you read, it actually starts with something that will happen in the 10th chapter. So the event is 12th of June 2018, right?
Yes.
And there's an event on which the book is titled The Boy Who Did Not Sign. And then it goes back. It goes back to somewhere around like 9th of June 2017 when he's like preparing to crack the interview, which is like one of the most difficult interview of the country. It is an hour long, more than that long interview. And he's coming out with a rank of 1800 in gate examination, does not get any calls from any of the companies, does not get any admission for any masters. And he says that I'm going to crack the most difficult interview of this country. And nobody believes in him, right? He's unemployed. He's like a spectacular student through his undergraduate, but decides to overlook any kind of mediocre job and stays 1 year in Delhi and decides, I'm going to become a scientist in ISRO, fails in GATE, fails in ISRO, and says that, okay, I need a job. I'm going to crack the most difficult interview of this country. And he goes out there, and that's the first chapter, right?
So along with like the dream, passion, the hustle, there's going to be romance as well, right?
Not really. Like it is not really a romantic book.
But there would be a girl, right?
There would be a girl, right?
Yeah.
There would be a girl, and I don't want to disclose what happens.
But they like
right?
just to just to describe.
Yeah,
say,
I don't think there's any person in
there
this
would be
world.
instances,
Right. I don't think there's any person in this world who's not stuck in some kind of relationship dynamics, right? There's something or the other, because that's like the primary reflex of a human being, right? And so the same goes with Ashwin Taksh, right? There is a girl, and I do not want to say anything more than that.
Yeah.
But the girl is going to be over there in the first chapter itself.
Okay, so speaking of a girl, there was a question that am I going to be there in the book or not?
Well, you'll never know until you read it. Well, I think what you're asking is there going to be a character inspired by Komal Taya, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are no real characters in that book. It's a fictional book, right?
Yeah, but like
Yeah,
it's just inspired
right.
by
Like you will say that Ashwin Taksh is inspired from me, and you'll say that is there a character which is inspired from Komal, and you'll never know until you read the book. So Komal just spilled something which is a spoiler, so we are just going to eradicate that part, and
I'm
that's
sorry.
it. It's fine.
Spilled some beans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I'm gonna ask like a lot of people were curious to ask that what is like how many pages would be there in the book, and what would be the approximate price of the book,
Right.
and on what platforms it would be available. Any tentative information if you have, or like
Right.
solid information.
So if you ask, like, I'm sure that there's 99,000 words in that book. I actually wrote it, which came out to be like 180,000 words. But that's the journey of every writer. We cut it down.
We
cut
want
it down.
pages.
Coming to that. So right now, this whole interview thing is recorded a little bit earlier than it is going to be published. So I'm still talking to the publishers. We are still at the formatting phase, and we don't know, right? But if I know till this video is published on my channel, I'm going to put it in text, right? It is if you think about it, if you think about the books by Amish Tripathi, the Meluhar trilogy, and you think about Ready to Fire by Namina, so it is more in a thicker side. So there's a lot of things in this book. It's a 1 year journey, but a lot happens in that. So we're talking about pursuit of a dream career, there's relationship dynamics, there's a rebellion part, and failures, and then the family matter comes in, and the boy deals with a lot, but the boy does not sign. So it is going to be a complete package though. One thing I did not want it to do is make it in sequels. It could have easily been a sequel of 2 to 3 books, but I hate sequels. Like I even hate TV series with like second season and third season, right? Concluded, man. Once publish it, I want to know what happens, right? New story starts, you write a new book. What I'm thinking is later on, maybe because I know that there's going to be a fan base of this book, it has to happen. And those who want to know more, maybe I'm going to be writing like a chronicle series, a few things that got missed out and could not make it to the final version. And we are going to do that. But I'm all set with like releasing 3 books. I have that much content. What was the question actually? I did not answer properly, like when, where they can find it,
Yeah,
right?
the price, the pages,
Right.
and where they can find it, all the information.
So, like
regarding
I
it.
said, with the pages comes the total price because it depends on the manufacturing cost, especially when it comes to a hard copy or physical copy, right? So, I'm not sure about the cost, but when I am, definitely I'm going to let you know if I'm sure until this video is coming out. But whatever price you pay, you'll find every last peso of that worth it. I promise you that. You'll say that, oh my, I would have paid 5 times of this, because that book is your book forever. And probably we are going to do like this. Like initially when we release it, it will be at the lower side. And in a couple of months, the price will increase a bit because that's a common strategy. That's what I've been told because this is my first book published. So because you want more and more people to engage and know about it. But whatever price you pay will be worth every last penny of it. And finally, where you can get it, everywhere, right? I'm going to beep that out because I want it to be child friendly, but you'll find it everywhere. Like I worked for it for 5 years. I'll make sure you'll get it in Saudi Arabia as well. You'll find it on Amazon. You'll find it in the bookstores as well. That's what we are working on right now. And you'll find it on Flipkart. You'll find it, right? If you want to read it, you'll get it. And you'll get it quick as well. And it's not going to be like you're waiting for it for a month. It's going to be easy. Don't worry about it. Your boy takes care of it. All right?
Yeah. Okay, Ashish. Like, what was the most difficult and most happiest part while writing this book?
The most I did not face any difficulty. It was always fun. Matter of fact, when I was done writing with it, I was like, oh man, I'm done. So what am I going to do now? So that's what I've been thinking. Like there's been time where I come with, oh, a new book idea. I want to write a book on this. I want to write a book on a spy. I want to write a book on warfare.
Yeah.
Right. And I never had time. But now maybe I'll start in the next venture. But the book was never difficult. A lot of times I even felt like I'm not even writing this book. This book is writing itself. And that's why like every now and then I would get paranoid. Hey, if I die, you publish this book right away because this world needs this book, right? Because this book is that good. I don't even feel like I'm the writer. I don't even feel like I'm the character of that book. I feel that this is a character which is very realistic, doable. This is the character that people should be at least aware of. At this level of dedication, passion exists. People should know that. And I can say that it exists because I've lived that life. And that's where the character is inspired from.
Okay. Will the first few buyers get a signed copy?
Yeah, what we are doing is the seminar thing, right? So you join the seminar and I sign it right over there. I'm not sure how I can make that happen. I have to talk to my publisher, but definitely if you're joining the seminar, you are getting a signed copy. That would be possible if you like let us know in advance, like you want that, right? Or you come with a book. Obviously, I'm going to sign. Days are gone with the for the autographs. Like you remember the Delhi seminar we did in November 2019, right? That was kind of the last time and age where people were still requesting for an autograph, right? But I think that when the physical book comes, people still will be requesting for a signed copy, right?
Okay,
Yeah, but
speaking of that, yeah, you can continue.
you'll get it if you join the seminar, which is going to be in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Bangalore, right? And it's going to be in August. Tickets are out right now, and pretty filled up by the time this video is going to be out. So you should definitely check out.
Yeah, speaking of that, Ashish Ranjan, will there be an ebook?
Oh, of course, yeah. I forgot to mention that. It will be a Kindle version, not only just in Kindle. You can read it on Kobo, you can read it on Google Play Store, you can find it over there. Apple, like I said, man, you want to read this book, you want to buy this book, you're going to get it. Simple as that.
Perfect. So, What's your favorite chapter of the book and why?
It is very interesting that you asked it, because that's the chapter that I was like going to the final read right before this podcast, and I was like, oh, this is the reason why this is the best chapter of this book. And I actually gave it away before as well. Like on Instagram, I was writing like 6 months ago. I was actually 7th draft or 8th draft of this chapter. I was saying, I just took a screenshot I took a photo of it. I said, chapter 4, man. Chapter 4. It's the best chapter. Remember my words. It's chapter 4, which is also like, it gives me goosebumps, because 4 is a number that just comes every now and then in my life, right? Like All India rank 4 in ISRO. And as you read more and more, 4 is just the number that comes again and again. And 4712, the name of this channel, there was no connection with my rank, right? It was just 4 does not leave me. And there are a lot of things that we know that 4 is always there, right? And we see it, right? So that makes me think that we are all in like some kind of
Yeah.
matrix kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and your sum of like your date of birth and the month is
Right.
also 4.
Yeah. But chapter 4 is not chapter 4 anymore. That's what I was getting at. It is now chapter 5. Because earlier it was a combination, a giant chapter, which was like the most favorite chapter that I had in that book. But later on, I split it into 2. And the most interesting parts came in chapter 5. I'm not going to talk much about that, but I am going to give the name of the chapter. And the name of the chapter, can you guess it? When that door shuts.
I don't know. I've been like so confused. I know all the names,
Right.
but I cannot correlate
course,
with them because
Yeah, I was not
your
expecting that.
pages, like your like names were kind of, here and there when I was reading the
Right.
book.
Yeah.
So I know the incidents everywhere, but I do not know. I know like the chapter names, but I do not know where, like what particular incident is correlating to which chapter.
Right. Of course, it
Yeah.
would be extremely difficult. Like, it's only that I've written it 12 times, so I know I kind of remember the lines.
Yeah.
And also, did you say audiobook? Did you ask the question that, oh, you said
Ebook.
right?
Yeah.
So I was saying that I'm going to narrate myself in the audiobook version, and the audiobook is going to come like few months later. You can expect like 3 to 6 months later. I'm going to be narrating myself, but I won't be facing any problem, because I remember the dialogues, I remember the lines, and the quotes that this book has. It's insane. Like, I want this quote. Like, it might even be possible, like thousands of years later, you might see these quotes. You might not, but you're like kids of the kids if we all not destruct ourselves with nuclear power or something. But I have restrained myself from publishing these quotes anywhere, and these are going to be only on the book.
Okay. Is there any giveaway for the book?
We are going to do a cover disclosure for the first time.
Okay. Giveaway like.
Oh, giveaway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are thinking of giving free copies to the first few people who register for the seminar. If you are one of them, then there will be a lucky draw, and that depends on a live session that I might have already done, right? So there will be a giveaway kind of like that. And what else can you expect from a book? You get the book.
Perfect. Any requests to the audience? Any final message you want to leave to the audience?
Well, we have not disclosed the cover, so
I think we have.
No, we
When we disclose the name.
No,
I thought,
my whole idea was that disclose the name first, and then I want to talk about the
okay,
cover.
before you like bid your adieu to the audience, let's reveal the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me and Komal can see the cover right in front of us. You can see it on the screen.
Yeah.
This is the cover of the book, and I almost spent the equal amount of money and time designing the cover, or getting the cover designed by a professional graphic designer than I did almost on like the whole publishing part. Cover is very important, and what you can see over here is a young, skinny kind of boy looking at his ambitions of being a rocket scientist. But he is amongst the nuclear program scenario. The 2 chimneys that you see are the chimneys of a nuclear power plant. And what he sees is a vision. I want to do that for a living. And that's the guy. The character is a very unique character. The guy, I mean, as you can see over there, the quote is, if it is possible, I'll make it happen. If it is not possible, or if it is impossible, I'll make it possible, right? You have heard this quote before as well. This is a very important quote of the book. This is the major message. I don't want to give you an idea that this is a motivational or 100% inspirational book. It is a story. It is an experience. You are going to live the life that I lived. That's for sure. You're going to understand what life I lived when I was in the nuclear program of the country and I was working to get into the space program. And that is not an ordinary life. And this story needs to be told. And you are going to understand how much dark times, like you're going to feel that darkness, right? You're going to feel what happens. And you'll see what happens when you do that. Like how everybody, including those who don't even like physically exist, even like things which are not living matter or living beings, even that goes against you, right? Everything goes against you. And you're kind of like cornered. Now, what do you do then? Judges who you are. And that's what this book is about. And although, again, you might think that it's like a motivational book, it's funny, it's hilarious at times, right? That's the character, right? That's the character. The character grew up as an introvert, and now he sees the world from that third person perspective, and he has always got a different perspective to this world. He sees what is going on, and he thinks about it like, let me apply a normal logic. This makes some sense to me, but mostly it doesn't. Like, why the hell are you doing that? And why don't you do it this way? And the opposite happens with everybody around him. He said, why the hell are you doing this? Right? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing with your life? You're crazy, right? And he says that I don't understand that, because with the simple logic, I think that this is what should be done, and I'm going to do this. I'll see it through. I'll see what happens. If you're right, you're right. But if you're not, then you have to accept it. And all those people who said that I was wrong, now you got to accept it, because this book is out and you know what you did and you know what you said and you know what I did, right?
Yes, Ashish.
Because there's nobody who like said, oh, you can become an ISRO scientist with this scenario. There's nobody who even said that you can become a scientific officer at BARC. But I was able to do all of those despite so many people thinking that it is impossible, right? That's what the quote comes from. But the point is that the other quote that I love about that book is something that came in the final stages. Life is not fair, and so it is unfair to play it fairly. And that is Ashwin Taksh in Blood and Bone. Like, that guy does not play life fairly, because he understands very soon, like, I have every disadvantage a man can have. I mean, I'm an introvert. I cannot speak that well. I'm not the most chocolatey, good-looking boy according to the Indian standards. I mean, you understand, like, what is the chocolatey boy of the Indian society, right? A good-looking boy, everybody says that you're very cute growing up, right? He's not that kind of guy. He's skinny, so a lot of times people think that he's weak. And he grew up academically super poor. Like, whatever is my background academically is his background. Like, this is what is written. Like, he is the guy who scored 53 marks in mathematics in 12th standard. He is the guy who spent 18 years not studying at all. But he's also the guy who wants to become an ISRO scientist. Now, he knows that I have all the cards against me. The life is not fair for me at all. So I'm not going to play it fairly. I'm going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, this looks and sounds very interesting. And I'm pretty sure the viewers would be curious as well about it, because I cannot wait for the day when it gets on the floor in the market, and everyone would be like, I know, would be in awe of you, because I know how much, like, you have put literally every fiber of your body in it.
Right.
You have worked
And I could
day
have
and
easily
night,
like churned
round the
money.
clock.
I could have churned money like 3 years ago. Just
Yes.
publish it. Like, oh, everybody knows that I used to be a scientist at ISRO. Everybody knows that I'm a scientific officer at, I used to be a scientific officer at Department of Atomic Energy. Use those tags and just publish that book and just get quick money. But no, I want it to be a story that people remember. I want it to be the experience like Inglorious Bastard. I want it to be an experience like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, an experience like Chernobyl TV series by HBO, an experience like Band of Brothers, an experience like Peaky Blinders. I want it to be an experience. I want it to be a story, a life that you almost like you live that life, right?
Yeah, I do not have anything apart from saying that I'm super proud of you. I've seen you growing as a person as well through this book. And now I cannot wait for the audience to explore this book and get different perspectives according to their own vision. But I think now it's your turn to say your parting words before
Well,
you
my
say
parting
goodbye.
words are not to my audience.
Yeah.
I have said everything I wanted to say
Yeah.
about the book, and you guys know what I've done, and you guys know my message, and especially people who have been following my content for a long time, let us say like 2018 days. You guys made me, and I've lived every day to live up to that expectations. That's pretty much about it, what I want to say. But I also want to say something to you, because this book, what you might not know, is actually dedicated to Komal Taya. That's the first page, and I would not have written this book if she did not encourage me every time. Like, what kind of engineer thinks that I can become a writer, right? Until unless he has people around him reading his content saying, oh, this is actually a good book, this is actually something worth writing. And there's no doubt that I would not have completed this book if you did not go through like the first chapter of the first draft of me plot. Like, you know me, I suck at writing, right? I even make spelling mistakes, grammatical mistakes, thanks to Grammarly and hundreds of other apps which does the spell check for me.
And me.
Of course, Komal Taya, like, I don't know a lot of words. I'm not a literary educated, like I'm not educated in a way like I'm an English major or something. Like, I spent some time, right? But I think that's important, right? Because if the only stories are written by the English majors, then we don't have all the stories of this world, right? And like I grew up sitting in the last class of the book. Sorry, of the class, last bench of the class, not paying attention in class, and because of that, I don't have correct grammar. Don't worry, the book that you're finally going to read, that's all well edited and corrected and all that. And I transformed to become that. Obviously, I learned writing. Now I know where to place comma, and like I said, that's what took 5 years. But hopefully, those are the people who write the literature of this world, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do not know about this, that Ashish has written every single word of this book by himself, done editing himself, everything himself. The only thing is he has just outsourced it for the printing. That's it.
Right.
Otherwise, every little ounce of it has been,
Right. I did not
crabbed
want
by
to have an editor. Like, I could have easily afforded editor. That was not a problem. I mean, I spent double the amount of money that most people spend on book cover and all. I don't think about spending money. Thankfully, I have it. But the only problem with the editor would be like, it would change the whole message. Like, a lot of places, it's not correct grammar. But then again, the writers are the ones who define grammar. This is like, I did not attended all the classes of my school properly, but I still remember my English teacher saying that the only people who are having the right to change grammar are the writers, because they are the one who define the grammar. So there are few places where it is not the perfect grammar. For example, the quote of Oppenheimer, how he quoted Bhagavad Gita, right? Now I am become the God, the destroyer of light. So that's not correct English, right? You also were saying that, oh, this is not correct English, right? Even Grammarly was saying, oh, there's supposed to be an am over
I
here.
am become,
Right.
right? It has been written like that.
Right, yeah. He said it, right?
Let's give it a pause.
Sorry, there was a background noise, so we paused it.
Yeah.
But it is supposed to be written like that, right? And there's a lot of interesting nuclear stuff, and you don't need to be a scientist to understand those. There's a lot of interesting space research, things like that will just interest you. Like, it is not a book like Ready to Fire by Naminan, who actually talks about a lot of technicalities of launch vehicles or rocket engines. I did not want it to be this like that, but there's something that everybody will enjoy, right? And even though the book is about pursuit to become a space scientist or a rocket scientist, the book is set up in the nuclear program of India, right? And so there's a lot of like nuclear stuff. There's a lot of like, I love the World War II events, and there are like a lot of callbacks and a lot of references of interesting scientists like Lisa Meitner, G.I. Taylor, and all that. That's my encyclopedia. So it is obviously going to show over there.
Yeah, and I think now it's my turn to say something about the book, but like
Right.
this book, like I think this deserves like the utmost level of your love. And if you genuinely like this book, please share this among your circle, because this book, I feel like it's life changing for anyone who is kind of lost. It has everything: funny punches, it has like little funny angle in between, it has like, it will make you cry at times, it will make you laugh. So I think it's a masterpiece. I'm not saying this frankly just because I know Ashish on a personal basis,
And just because
or
it is dedicated to you, right?
yeah, it's thanks so much. It's been like an honor for doing such thing for me.
Right.
But apart from that, I'm like his biggest critic. I would, give like the biggest criticism when it comes to just,
Anything.
Yeah.
Basically anything, right?
Yeah. So basically, it's a book which you love it, and I think this was my first book or like a novel, something which comes under the same category, which I read completely. It was so interesting. I just finished it in 2 days. I thought like, once I thought like, oh, storybooks are not for me, novels are not for me, because I can never read them. But this book, like, it's not something like related to me, just like you can relate to it and you'll find everything in it. So it's my humble request to go and just have a look on it. Do not buy it if it doesn't tempt you.
Yeah,
go-
just read the bloody prologue, man.
Yeah, and see
And
if you-
say that you're not sucked into it. Just read one page. That's it. And
Yeah.
one page is not even 250 words. Just read that. And
Yes.
if there are not 1,000 questions popping in your head, you say, "Oh, I don't buy it."
And if you like it, I think it's your duty to share it with your friends, family, and within your circle, so that way it can reach to the maximum people and the amount of love it deserves. And we really appreciate your support since the starting of Ashish's channel. You guys have been like the pillar of strength throughout our respective careers. So a big thank you, and we are looking forward to your positive responses.
And feedbacks. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
love to know what you think about the book.
And also the title, and is like, do you find the title attractive, and do you find the cover something which you'd like to pick up from a bookstore? So we really need your support right now, and we are looking forward to it.
And this is not the only thing that we are doing. Like, obviously, a lot of people will think that, oh, this is a regulated kind of environment when you're talking about the book. I'm open to talk about this book anywhere, right? Like, I'm not the one to shy away from open media. I am going to talk about it wherever I'm going to be asked questions. I've requested a lot of people to get me in their podcast. Let me talk about the book. The biggest names that you can think of, I've reached them out. Most of them are way too busy to respond. But if you get in contact with any of those, and if they are looking for someone who's an author and has published a book and would love to let me share my story in my own words and maybe talk a little bit about the book, that would be great. Like, a good example would be CTWT, right? I had zero control over how they are going to edit and what they are going to show, but I talk the way that I talk, and I'm not afraid I will not shy away from anybody asking any question related to the book, or what was the whole idea of writing this book, and go and comment to your favorite podcasters and favorite social media influencers if they would love to have me on their platform, and I would love to talk on their platform for sure to their audience maybe.
Yeah, with these thank you notes, I think it's time to say goodbye to you, and we would be back in no time to see you again.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. And like I said, seminars are out. Let me talk in front of you face to face, in person. And tickets are out. Links will be down in the description. If the book is already published, and let's say you are watching this content after 15th of August, when we are planning to publish this book. Oh, we never talked about the date of publishing.
Yeah, it's finally revealed. Yeah,
Right.
forgot.
15th
Yeah.
August, the Independence Day of our country.
So
for
finally
sure.
your book would get independence.
Yeah, my
From
book
your
will
clutches.
get independence. It is free now.
Yeah.
The book will become whatever it has to become, right? Like, I wrote the book from my perspective. Now people are going to read it from their perspective.
Exactly. That's
Right.
what I kind of discussed somewhere.
And yeah, and like I said, like when I was reading it for the last time before just sending it to get it published, like even now we are talking to publishers and it's like the final edit. Okay, this is the final, like this is what it is going to look on a page, right? And you read it so that there's no mistake, nothing in the last one, even though you have done or edited it 12 times or 12 draft. And when I was reading it for the last time, I was still, this book has turned out to be on its own, right? Like, it doesn't even feel like I wrote it. This book wrote itself.
Yes.
And it has created a character which is freaking crazy, man. This character is crazy. Like, this dude, like I said, like he's very isolated from the world. So he thinks that he wants to pursue something, and he's stubborn, egoistic, and just runs for it, right? And especially in the beginning part of the books, he's like very immature, just seeing the world and living as an independent person now. And over time you'll see this character mature, and you'll understand what matures people. Like I said, right, you will feel, if you pursue a dream career, you'll see dark times, and those dark times changes you, right? Those dark time will teach you some things that will almost seem that, someone said something to me, right? And it would have never happened if this never happened, right? And you'll see this character grow. And the most like crazy part about this character is that, first of all, he pursues his goal like a madman, right? He pursues like a crazy person, right? I want to do it, I'm going to do it, bloody nobody is going to stop me. The problem is that he applies the same when it comes to relationship, right? And he is the guy who's like always grew up isolated. He has never really felt love, right? Proper love, not even from his family members. So that's the guy who's like craving love, right? He wants that more than, like, maybe even more than his dream career. So now he's like, I want to pursue my passion, I want to pursue love. And then he's like in a dilemma, like, what do I pursue harder? And that's what you are going to, and also like especially when the 10th chapter and the 11th chapter comes and the rebellion part comes, and you'll see that this guy is the only guy who could have done that, and somehow the world placed him in the spotlight where this needed to be done.
Yeah. So this book has made me cry and laugh at the same time. Now it's your turn to cry and laugh with this book. And now this book is yours. And with that, I think that's the end of this video. And that's it.
And
Take
thank you
care.
so much. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great. This was the first time I'm properly talking about my book on this. Like, I talked in bits and pieces about writing this book, but never about the story of this book. And now it's well deserved. Like, we finally did it. Wrote the book, cover is ready with the publishers, ready on Amazon, and now we are going to talk, and I'm going to talk more about it. Like, over time, I'm going to get questioned. Why did Ashwin do that? What happened over there? What was the background? Who is this character? Like, tell me a little bit about this character. What happened in between? And those questions are going to be answered, and we have all the time in the world for that.
Yeah. Seems like we have a lot of content in making. And with that, till then, take care. Bye. And
Bye,
keep
everybody.
smiling. I thought like this
Oh.
this video is like never ending, but finally it's ending.
Oh,
and
we
with
have
a
been
very-
trying to end it for the past 15 minutes, I guess, but I keep on talking, right? Because this is the
Yeah,
first time
because he just like he is me now. He is me today because I'm the one who is super talkative. And today I'm like, with the first question itself, I knew it's going to like take like forever for this video, because I knew I just asked a question and he just kept rambling on.
Well, you
Yeah.
keep a writer close for 5 years, this is what happens.
Cool. With that, we're gonna say final goodbye to you guys. Till then, take care, keep smiling, and have a good day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.